There's a reason million-dollar homes often feel calm the moment you walk in, and it's not because of the furniture. It's not the lighting, it's not even the square footage. It's something quieter, something living, something placed on purpose. You might overlook it, a leafy plant in the corner, one near the front door, another gently trailing from a windowsill. But these aren't for decoration. They're not just plants. In many wealthy households, greenery is chosen not for color, but for energy, for the quiet way it keeps a home steady. While fresh flowers are beautiful, their energy fades fast. A vase wilts. A bloom drops, but certain plants, they stay, they filter air, they hold space, they anchor mood, and according to many who live intentionally with an eye on both wellness and financial flow, these specific plants do more than just sit pretty. They shift things. They absorb tension. They soften the air after an argument. They invite in a kind of ease you can't buy. And over time, they become part of the home's rhythm, guarding peace, not with loud presence, but with quiet, consistent growth. In this video, we're exploring 6 plants that often show up quietly without fanfare, in the homes of those who have learned that success isn't just about what you earn, but how your space feels while you're earning it. If your home has been feeling off lately, stale air, restless sleep, tension that doesn't quite have a name, these plants might help. They don't solve everything, but they know how to hold a room. And sometimes that's the shift that changes everything. Number 1, honeysuckle, the quiet call for prosperity. You won't find honeysuckle in designer bouquets or glossy magazine spreads. It's not flashy, it doesn't show off. But step into a home where it grows and you'll feel something different before you even know what it is. The air feels clearer, the room lighter. Not like someone just cleaned, but like the house itself is breathing better. Honeysuckle isn't about beauty, it's about atmosphere. It's the kind of plant people forget to mention when asked what makes their home feel good. But they always make sure it's there. And for those who have lived long enough to care more about how life feels than how it looks, honeysuckle holds a quiet kind of wisdom. What makes this plant so special isn't just its gentle scent or climbing stems. It's the way it shifts energy without demanding attention. In a culture that moves fast, that decorates for trends and updates for resale, honeysuckle does something radical. It stays. It roots. It weaves itself into the space. It softens harsh edges, and without you noticing, it starts pulling tension out of the air, out of you. That's why many people who are deeply intentional about their homes, especially those who have learned to value peace over perfection, choose honeysuckle over flowers. Because where flowers fade, honeysuckle holds. It's a natural filter, not just of toxins in the air, but of emotional weight. Whether it's placed near a window that catches morning light or grown along a backyard fence where the breeze carries its scent through the house, honeysuckle creates a kind of quiet recalibration. After a hard conversation, after a long day, after you've walked through the door holding more than you meant to, the plant doesn't judge. It doesn't try to fix you. It simply does what it does. Receives, softens, returns calm. And unlike some plants that are finicky or require constant care, honeysuckle is surprisingly resilient. It thrives in well-lit spots, but it doesn't need perfect conditions. You can plant it in a small pot or let it trail outside a window. It asks for water, light, and a little space to stretch, but not much more. And the longer it stays, the stronger its presence becomes. There's something deeply symbolic about that. A plant that doesn't ask for attention but rewards consistency. A reminder, maybe, of what real prosperity looks like, quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. For centuries, honeysuckle has been used as more than a plant. In traditional practices, its leaves and flowers have been steeped into teas to clear the body, ease inflammation, and strengthen immunity. But its real power for many is energetic. It's been called a living magnet for fortune, not in the way that promises instant wealth or miracle change, but in the slow, sustainable way that builds environments where good things happen more often. It helps people sleep better, work better, speak softer, love steadier. It helps homes hold onto the good and let the rest move on. You don't need a backyard or a perfect porch. A small ceramic pot near a kitchen window will do. And you don't need to be an expert gardener either. Honeysuckle isn't fragile. In fact, it's a plant that seems to meet you where you are. On the days when everything feels in control, it flourishes quietly in the background. And on the days when life feels too loud, it pulls some of the weight for you. That's not magic. That's energy, and it's real. Many people who live with honeysuckle don't even realize what it's doing until they travel and miss it, or move and notice something feels off without it. It's not a showpiece. It doesn't demand praise, but it holds. And in a world full of things that don't last, that alone is powerful. So if your home has been feeling heavy lately, if your sleep's been thin or the air feels stale, or you've just been looking for something you can't quite name, consider this plant, not because it will fix your life, but because it will hold a small, steady space for something better to return. Maybe you need something living in your home that simply knows how to stay. Something that smells like calm and grows without rushing. Something that doesn't bloom to impress but survives to support. And maybe, just maybe, the first step toward shifting the energy around you is planting something that isn't trying to change you, but gently reminds you that your space and your spirit can be soft again. Number 2, Buddhas hand a silent prayer at the doorstep. Some plants are grown for beauty, others for scent. But Buddha's hand isn't planted for either. It's planted for presence. It's not the kind of tree that most people recognize by name, but the moment you see one, you remember it. Its fruit is strange, striking, like a cluster of golden yellow fingers gently reaching inward as if in prayer. It doesn't bear flowers. It doesn't drop petals. It simply stands there, near the front door or beside a quiet patio, holding something sacred in its stillness. And for those who understand the weight of energy in a home, not just what it looks like, but how it feels, this plant is no accident. It's a decision. The shape alone tells a story. Unlike round fruits that burst outward with color, the Buddha's hand folds in. It gathers, it holds, and in many cultures, that shape is seen as a symbol of spiritual shelter, like two hands gently protecting what matters most. When placed near an entrance, it's not decoration. It's a soft boundary, a message to the unseen. Only peace may enter here. Many homes that feel especially calm, especially settled, have something like this nearby. Not loud, not obvious, but deeply intentional. What's powerful about this plant isn't just its symbolism, it's the way it quietly changes the space around it. The scent is light, not floral or overwhelming, but clear and clean. It neutralizes stale energy, lifts tension without drawing attention to itself. Some families even use the fruit to make tea or dry its peel to scent rooms during winter. But beyond tradition or ritual, the Buddha's hand holds a deeper kind of purpose. It listens, it absorbs, it shields, and in the subtle rhythm of daily life, doors opening, energy shifting, it stays rooted, doing its quiet work. It's especially useful in homes that feel too open, places where energy flows in too fast, or where visitors leave behind more than conversation. In those spaces, the Buddha's hand helps draw a line, not a harsh one, but a protective one. It's the difference between a house that feels vulnerable and a home that feels held. For those who are sensitive to their surroundings, those who notice how some rooms drain you and others restore you, this plant becomes more than just green decor. It becomes an ally, and yet it asks so little. It grows in a pot or in the ground. It prefers sun, dislikes strong winds, and needs well-draining soil. Water it regularly, but not obsessively. Give it light and it will grow. Leave it be and it will watch over you. That simplicity is part of what makes it so valuable, not just energetically, but practically. You don't have to fuss over it. You don't have to understand ancient texts or spiritual systems. You only need to care for it with intention, to recognize that something sacred can live beside you without needing your attention every moment. In many homes where this plant grows, it becomes a kind of silent ritual. People walk past it without speaking, but they feel different near it. Some pause as they come home, instinctively placing their hand near the fruit without knowing why. Some place it just inside the threshold, like a quiet guardian who never sleeps. And some, without ever discussing it, find themselves breathing deeper around it. These are not coincidences. These are the subtle effects of a plant that holds its space well. There's a quiet luxury in having something alive near your door that doesn't ask, doesn't perform, but simply holds steady. In a world where so much is rushed, reactive, and loud, the Buddha's hand teaches slowness, stillness, boundaries without walls, protection without hardness. It offers what so many homes lack, not because we don't want peace, but because we rarely give it a place to land. If your home has felt too open lately, too many opinions, too much noise, too many things trying to get in, this may be the shift you didn't know you needed. Not another alarm system, not another organizing hack, just a plant, quiet, hands folded, reminding everything and everyone to come in gently, to step lightly, to leave anger at the threshold and let the inside stay soft. That's not superstition, that's stewardship of space, of energy, of what truly matters after years of running, building, providing. We plant things not only to grow, but to remember. And Buddha's hand reminds us that not everything good is loud, not every guardian wears armor. Some of them grow slowly in a pot by the door, and day after day they bless a space by simply being there. So maybe it's not about filling your house with more. Maybe it's about planting something with presence, something that holds a prayer without needing words. Something that doesn't try to impress guests but knows how to keep your energy safe. If you've been looking for a shift you can feel but not explain, this may be where it begins. Number 3. Osmanthus, the scent of a clean mind. Some homes smell like candles, others like cleaners. But every so often you walk into a space that just smells clean. Not chemically scrubbed or artificially freshened, but naturally clear, like the air itself is soft and well kept. That's what Osmanthus does. It doesn't overwhelm or announce itself. It doesn't leave trails of perfume or spike the senses. Instead, it brings a calm, steady presence through a scent you can't quite describe but always remember. Light, dry, crisp, like clean linens, open windows, and a mind that's finally quiet. The Osmanthus plant isn't about drama or show. Its flowers are tiny, often hidden beneath the leaves, and its scent arrives slowly, not like perfume, but like something the room has always carried. That's what makes it powerful. It doesn't demand attention, it holds space. And in homes where peace feels fragile, where too many conversations have stacked in the air, where rest is thin and thoughts race too fast, Osmanthus brings stillness back. This plant isn't trying to fix your life, but it has a quiet way of changing the room it's in. It cleans the air, not just in terms of toxins or dust, but in terms of tension. The kind of heaviness you can't name but feel in your chest. The kind that settles after arguments, after long weeks, after years of holding too much. Osmanthus lifts it, not all at once, not like a button pressed, but gently, like exhaling, like light after fog. It thrives in indirect sunlight in places with soft airflow and consistent humidity, places like home offices, reading corners, or bedside tables. It's not a plant that needs perfection, just care, gentle water, occasional pruning, a bit of space. And in return, it offers something rare, clarity without effort, cleanliness without chemicals, a kind of energetic reset that doesn't feel forced. What makes Osmanthus especially meaningful is that it supports the kind of clean we often forget to prioritize. Not the clean of countertops and closets, but the clean of thought. The mental stillness that lets you think clearly and breathe deeper. In homes filled with noise, digital, emotional, even visual, this plant does something we rarely allow ourselves. It turns the volume down, not to silence, but to stillness. Many people who live with Osmanthus notice the difference most when they step away. After a weekend trip, after a long workday, when they return home and breathe in and the room simply feels lighter. It's not dramatic, it's not showy, but it's there. In the same way you feel better in clean sheets or sleep deeper in a room that's been aired out. Osmanthus holds that space, silently. Its scent is subtle, often described as warm and dry, never sharp or floral. That's why it works so well for sensitive spaces, rooms where you don't want distraction, just balance. It neutralizes cooking smells, helps quiet residual tension in shared spaces, and pairs beautifully with candlelight or soft music. But its greatest gift is in the way it affects emotion. Slowly, consistently, it makes the room feel more manageable, the mind more focused, the heart less cluttered. If you've been feeling foggy, mentally cluttered, emotionally scattered, Osmanthus may be the shift your space needs. Not another planner or app or routine, but a plant that lives with you, quietly reminding your space how to hold clarity. Not aggressively, not loudly, but gently, persistently. Like the way morning light comes through sheer curtains, softly but completely. It's also a plant that doesn't age quickly. It grows slowly, keeps its structure, and holds its scent for years. Its roots don't sprawl. Its leaves don't drop daily. It's the kind of plant you can place in a room and trust. It won't outgrow its space, won't create mess, won't ask for more than you can give. In a life full of demands, Osmanthus simply offers presence. And presence is what many of us are missing. In a world that moves fast, feels fast, speaks fast, having something in your home that slows time down, that holds calm without needing attention is rare. Osmanthus doesn't distract, it doesn't entertain, but it helps you focus, helps you feel clear. And that's something most of us deeply, quietly crave, especially in this stage of life. For women over 55, this plant speaks to a different kind of wisdom. It doesn't push. It doesn't bloom to be seen. It becomes part of the background rhythm that keeps things in order. It's a small, living reminder that peace doesn't have to be earned every day. It can be chosen, created, and kept, even in something as simple as a potted plant by the window. So if your space feels noisy, or your thoughts feel jumbled, or your energy just feels off, consider Osmanthus, not as a solution, but as support. As a steady presence that holds the room while you find your footing again. Place it where you breathe often, water it when the soil asks, let it root in quietly, and over time you'll notice your mind does the same. Number 4, Jade Plant. Calm in small spaces. Not every home needs grandeur. Sometimes what it really needs is balance, a small, steady presence in a corner that helps everything else settle. That's what the Jade Plant brings. It doesn't grow tall or wild. It doesn't demand space or light. It simply stays where you place it, holding calm like a quiet breath in the middle of a busy room. In homes where space is tight, schedules are full, or tension lingers in the air without reason, this little plant becomes something rare, grounding that fits neatly on a shelf. The Jade Plant isn't delicate. Its leaves are thick and full, storing water the way some people store patience, silently, generously, without complaint. It's a plant built for endurance, not show. And that makes it ideal for modern life, especially for those who spend long hours indoors, surrounded by devices, screens, and the slow mental clutter of the everyday. A single jade plant on a desk can shift the atmosphere of an entire room. It doesn't sing or shine, but it changes things. The light feels softer, the energy more anchored, the space breathes deeper. What's beautiful about this plant is how easy it is to live with. It doesn't shed leaves, make a mess, or demand constant care. Water it once a week, let it dry between drinks, and it will thrive. It doesn't outgrow its pot quickly, which makes it perfect for apartment living, windowsills, bedside tables, or even office cubicles. It asks so little, but it gives something in return, steadiness. And in a world where so much pulls at our attention, that's not a small gift. The jade plant is often called the money plant, not because it guarantees wealth, but because it symbolizes consistency, the kind that leads to security over time. Its round, coin-shaped leaves and deep green color give it a reputation for drawing in financial luck, yes. But what it really draws in is peace of mind. The kind that comes from knowing something in your home is quietly alive, quietly growing, and quietly taking care of the space it's in. For many people, especially those at a season in life where simplicity is more valuable than spectacle, the jade plant becomes a kind of companion. Not loud, not flashy, but faithful. It's something to check on, to water, to trim gently once in a while. And in return, it asks nothing except to be left in a spot with light and kindness. It reminds you that not everything has to be big to be meaningful. That care doesn't have to be complicated, and that growth, real, deep growth, can happen quietly. There's also a purity to its presence. Jade filters the air. Its leaves help reduce indoor pollutants, and its very shape seems to collect and hold calm. If you've ever felt suffocated by a space, not because of size, but because of energy, you know how important it is to have something that absorbs tension without needing conversation. That's what this plant does. It doesn't judge. It doesn't react. It just stays. And in staying, it heals the space around it. People often underestimate the impact of having something green nearby, especially in small spaces. But the jade plant makes that impact known over time. It softens harsh lines. It breaks up the heaviness of too much technology, too many distractions. It's a small reminder of life happening slowly without pressure. And when everything else feels rushed, that matters more than we realize. Some people place jade in their workspace to bring financial focus. Others place it near the entrance, hoping to welcome stability. But its best placement is wherever you spend your most unfocused hours, because that's where its calm is most needed. A desk full of scattered papers, a kitchen counter that feels like a landing zone, a nightstand cluttered with thoughts and to-dos. The jade plant doesn't clean the mess, but it helps clean the mood around it. And often, that's the beginning of real change. In terms of care, it's forgiving. It likes loose soil, some light, and rest between waterings. It doesn't like soggy roots or sudden cold, but otherwise it adapts well. It grows slowly, which means it doesn't surprise you. It stays familiar. Its shape becomes something you notice more over time, not because it changes, but because you do. You begin to see the way it leans toward light, the way new leaves unfold, the way it becomes part of your space, not an object, but a presence. For women navigating the later chapters of life, where clarity, routine, and emotional ease matter more than ever, this plant offers something no gadget or system can. It's a rhythm, a reminder, a rootedness that says, you don't have to do more, you just have to be where you are. And that message in a world of noise is quietly radical. If you're looking to shift the energy in a small space, not with renovation, but with resonance, start here. One plant, one pot, one soft patch of light. Let the jade plant settle in and notice how the room begins to change. Not dramatically, but surely, slowly, and with a kind of calm that lasts. Number 5. Buddhist Pine, a green wall against chaos. Every home needs a barrier, not the kind made of locks or alarms, but something softer, older, and wiser. A presence that doesn't just keep intruders out, but keeps peace in. The Buddhist pine is that kind of barrier. Not a fence, not a wall, but a green line of stillness between your home and the world outside. It doesn't just look strong, it is strong. Tall, upright, with a slow-growing spine and deep roots. This plant isn't here for decoration. It's here to hold the line. To say, this home is protected without saying a word. You don't need to believe in symbols or rituals to feel the effect of this plant. You just need to live with it. Step into a home where it stands near the front gate or anchors the backyard and the air shifts. It feels a little heavier in the best way, grounded, contained, safe. That's what the Buddhist pine does. It anchors space. It absorbs noise, wind, movement, it shields. In homes where things have felt unstable, where the past few years have brought more upheaval than expected, this plant doesn't promise miracles, it promises structure. Steady, quiet, dependable structure. Its shape speaks for itself. Dense green needles packed close together, a trunk that doesn't bend easily, roots that spread deep before they spread wide. This plant isn't interested in rushing or showing off. It's here to stay. In Feng Shui practice, it's often used to block sharp energy from roads or corners to prevent chaotic airflow from rushing straight through a home. But even without knowing that language, most people sense it instinctively. Place this plant outside your front door or along a pathway and the mood shifts. There's a quiet confidence, a line drawn gently but firmly. And yet it doesn't take over. That's part of its wisdom. The Buddhist pine respects space. It grows slowly, mindfully. You can prune it into clean lines or let it grow naturally. Either way, it holds its form. This makes it ideal for modern American landscapes, whether you have a wide backyard, a townhouse patio, or a simple front step. It doesn't shed much. It doesn't attract pests. And its color stays deep green year-round, which means its presence doesn't fade with the seasons. It's especially powerful in homes where chaos has been a visitor, whether emotional, relational, or circumstantial. The Buddhist pine doesn't fix anything directly. It doesn't stop arguments or ease grief, but it gives the home something to lean on. A visual, living reminder that not everything needs to change fast. Some things can grow slowly, solidly, and still make a lasting impact. In homes where too much has changed too quickly, this plant helps bring back the rhythm of patience. It prefers sunlight, good drainage, and regular but moderate watering. Like most things worth keeping, it needs consistency more than intensity. You don't need to tend to it daily, just enough to keep its roots from drying, its leaves from dulling. It does the rest. And as it grows, it becomes not just a plant, but a presence. Something that's seen every guest walk in, every season shift, every emotion rise and fall, and still stands tall. Some people shape it into bonsai, bringing that grounding energy inside. Others plant it tall near windows or fences. Either way, it works not just as a design piece, but as a psychological anchor, a counterbalance to the uncertainty outside, a place for the eyes to land when the mind is tired, a reminder that strength doesn't have to be loud or quick to be real. For many women, especially those in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, this plant speaks directly to something unspoken. A kind of inner fatigue that comes from years of holding things together. The Buddhist pine doesn't fix that feeling, but it mirrors it. It says, I know what it's like to be the strong one. I know what it means to hold shape under pressure. And sometimes that silent reflection is what we need most. If your home has felt exposed lately, if the noise outside keeps leaking in, if the pace of the world is too fast, if you've been craving a pause that doesn't come, this is your sign. Not to shut the world out, but to create a buffer. A space where calm has time to catch up, where chaos can slow at the door, where you can breathe before walking inside. Because sometimes, peace isn't created by what we do inside the home. It starts with what we plant outside, what we let grow slowly, season by season, until one day we realize we're not flinching as often. We're not rushing to fix what can simply be absorbed. The air is softer, the house quieter, and the space between what happens outside and what we carry inside has finally widened. That's what the Buddhist pine offers, not just protection, but permission. Permission to slow down, to feel supported, to be strong in a way that's rooted, not rigid. If you're ready to build that kind of energy into your space, not with effort, but with intention, start here. Start green, start steady. Let this plant stand beside you, quietly reminding everything that enters there is peace here, and it will be kept. Number 6. Imperial Philodendron, the anchor inside the house. Some homes feel restless even when they are quiet. You can't explain it exactly, but the energy moves too fast. The light feels sharp, the air unsettled. It's not noise, it's a kind of imbalance, like the space hasn't settled into itself. And that's where the Imperial Philodendron comes in. This plant doesn't just decorate a room, it anchors it. Deep green, glossy, full-bodied, it doesn't stretch or spill like vines. It stands, it centers, it holds. In a world full of things that scatter, this is one plant designed to stay rooted. Its broad leaves are heart-shaped and quietly powerful, like open hands holding the room together. The color, sometimes rich green, sometimes burgundy, adds visual weight without feeling heavy. And when placed correctly in the center of a living room, beside a hallway, or near a space people pass through often, it becomes more than foliage. It becomes a quiet statement. This home is grounded. There's something comforting about the way this plant grows. It doesn't sprawl. It doesn't climb. It expands slowly, thoughtfully. It takes up space with purpose, but never in a way that overwhelms. That's exactly what makes it so valuable for homes that feel too open, too airy, or too distracted. When everything in your environment pulls upward or outward, screens, sounds, stress, the Imperial Philodendron brings energy down to earth. Its ability to purify air is well documented. It absorbs toxins like formaldehyde and benzene, which are often released from paints, furniture, and synthetic materials. But what's more subtle, and arguably more important, is how it helps the emotional atmosphere. People who live with this plant often describe it as calming, almost like the room sighs when they walk in. It doesn't sparkle or bloom. It just helps everything else settle. In American homes where minimalism is rising, but warmth is still desired, this plant strikes the perfect balance. It's sculptural without being cold, organic without being wild. It looks intentional yet relaxed. And for women in midlife and beyond, especially those who have spent years organizing spaces for others, it's a powerful thing to add one element that takes care of you, not through effort, but through presence. The care is simple. It prefers indirect sunlight, evenly moist soil, and a spot with some humidity. A weekly wipe of its leaves keeps them breathing well. It doesn't need constant fussing. In fact, it prefers when things are left calm and steady. It doesn't outgrow its space quickly, but when it does, you can divide it and share its quiet strength with another room or someone you love. It's a plant that adapts to your life, not the other way around. More than once, I've walked into a room and seen this plant sitting quietly in a corner and felt immediately like the energy had been softened. It's not magic. It's the result of something alive growing steadily in a space where too many things have become artificial. That feeling of something rooted, slow, real, is what many of us are craving without even realizing it. If you have a home filled with hard surfaces, wood floors, metal fixtures, glass doors, this plant can soften them all without disrupting the aesthetic. It creates visual and emotional balance. And unlike floral arrangements or delicate plants that wither quickly, this one lasts. It matures over time. Its leaves thicken, its base strengthens, and in that quiet process, your home feels more like a home. There's also something beautifully symbolic about its shape. The way the leaves open wide but curve inward. The way they catch light on one side and cast gentle shadow on the other. It mirrors the human need for both openness and boundaries, for warmth and quiet, for being seen and also being held. That's what this plant offers, not attention but support. In moments of transition, downsizing, moving, empty nesting, or simply shifting into a new season of life, this plant can feel like a companion. It doesn't talk, it doesn't fix, it just stays. And in doing so, it reminds you that not everything in your life has to be in motion. Some things are allowed to grow slowly, to just be. So if you've been feeling like your home has energy but no anchor, like it holds beauty but lacks a center, consider the Imperial Philodendron. It won't steal the spotlight, but it will change the way the room holds itself. And when your space starts to hold you with more steadiness, you begin to move through life a little more grounded too. Because in the end, peace isn't always found in what you remove. Sometimes it's found in what you add and let stay. We've just explored 6 plants, not rare, not mystical, not extravagant, but chosen with intention by those who understand that real wealth has less to do with what's visible and everything to do with what's felt. Each of these plants holds something deeper than beauty. Honeysuckle clears the air and quietly calls prosperity in. Buddha's hand guards the doorway like a soft prayer. Osmanthus purifies the mental clutter we carry. Jade holds peace in places that feel too small. Buddhist Pine stands at the threshold, steady and unshaken, and the Imperial Philodendron anchors the home from the inside out. What they all share isn't style, it's function. A function often overlooked in modern living, to protect, to balance, and to ground the energy of a space. In simple, science-backed ways, these plants clean the air, ease the nervous system, regulate humidity. But beyond the science, there's something else, something every viewer here can feel. These plants remind us that calm is not something we chase. It's something we create. And it begins with what we allow into our environment, what we place at the door, in the corners, beside the windows, and within reach of our daily lives. So if your home has been feeling heavy, noisy, or just slightly out of rhythm, don't underestimate what one living thing can do. Not because it's magical, but because it's real. And real things, quiet, rooted, consistent things, have a way of reshaping energy without ever raising their voice. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying with this reflection, for giving space to something so simple yet so deeply transformative. May your home become not just a place to live, but a space that holds you with steadiness, softness, and peace. And may whatever you plant next take root in exactly the way you need.